Muslim students are stuck. They can't afford, most of them, to pay for their university education. And so until the government introduces its alternative student finance product, Muslim students are sat around wondering, should they be taking out a haram loan? Should they be not going to university? What should they be doing? Well, in this video, we're going to give you 5 legitimate halal alternatives to taking out a student loan. Let's dive in. I'm Ibrahim Khan. I've been studying economics and traditional Islamic sciences for over 13 years now. I've been lucky enough over the years to have been covered by various publications and have authored a book on halal investing. IFG started with my co-founder Mohsin alongside our legal careers in the city. Today, IFG is, alhamdulillah, a team of 20 plus people, and we serve the community through IFG, our content arm, and Curate Capital, our investment arm. Now, a couple of disclaimers before we start. The first is, if you are going to pay a lot of money to go to a poor to mediocre university to do a relatively unemployable degree, such as, I don't know, creative arts or even English, and it's a rubbish university, you really need to hear the hard truth that are you actually spending all of that money for no reason whatsoever? Because if you're doing it to get a job, then really there are potentially better alternatives for you. However, if you're going to a top university, that will improve your job prospects and you will get a quality education. In that case, it can be more worth it. So make sure that you are not just going to university because everyone else is and you're just following the trend. The second disclaimer is that there are a wide variety of views on the student loan and whether or not it is sharia compliant or not. Some people would say that technically the student loan is not really a loan under Islamic law and therefore permissible. Others might say that the student loan today is now linked to the inflation rate and therefore it is permissible because it's not technically increasing the value of money. I have sympathy for this viewpoint. And then finally, others would say that no, the student loan is not permissible, and until the government introduces alternative student finance, which IFG have been campaigning on behalf of everyone alongside many other people, until that is introduced, we are not going to go to university, or we're going to take a student loan out and we're going to accept that it is impermissible and we're doing it due to necessity. So those are the 3 broad views out there, and you can choose between them what you see fit. In any case, we're going to talk about what are the alternatives to taking out a student loan, full stop. Let's go. Not every career needs a degree. In fact, about 3/4 of all of the jobs in the UK that are available today don't actually need a degree. You can earn well over 50k and in some cases over 100k doing jobs that didn't need a degree in the first place. If you become a highly specialized electrician or plumber or some kind of technician, you can very easily earn good money without having any degree whatsoever. There are many vocation-specific courses that you can go on, such as, for example, dental hygienist courses and qualifications, and you can end up earning about 50k doing jobs like that very easily without having to spend the time or the money to go to university and do that entire thing. Or if you are that way oriented, there are a number of online jobs these days where you can pick up the skills by just focusing on it for about 6 months hard, and then you might be a software engineer and you can slowly build up your portfolio and go from a starting salary of 30, 40k all the way up to north of 100k if you become really good. So these are skills that are highly demanded and they don't need any degree whatsoever. Alternatively, there are many apprenticeships out there these days as well, between 12 and 24 months, and the benefit you get there is you're learning on the job and there is a job waiting for you at the end of that apprenticeship as well. Be warned though that because it's not a degree doesn't mean that it's easier to get into. These are actually pretty competitive processes at times, so make sure that you properly research and plan well ahead. Like any job, try to speak to people in that profession already who've gone down that career path that you now want to go down and learn from them. Reach out to them on LinkedIn, ask your family and friends, and get introduced to people like that. Do you want all the benefits of an apprenticeship while still also earning a degree? Well, the degree apprenticeship is a perfect route for you. Did you know that 12% of all the apprenticeships started in 2021 were degree apprenticeships? So this is a burgeoning field and there are a lot of them out there. And the benefit that you get is that throughout the period of your degree, you will actually be earning money. You will be making yourself more employable by the end of it because you have real life job experience, and you make sure that you don't walk out of that apprenticeship with with any debt whatsoever. There are a wide variety of these available, from law to accounting, marketing, IT, even medicine has some of these available now. The only downside is that you will have to take about 4 years for these things typically. However, the upside is that you are getting real life skills and you avoid debt entirely. And in fact, many degrees are actually 4 years as well. Take a gap year. And no, by gap year, I don't mean where you go away, you come back with dreadlocks and tan and bronzed with little shark fins around your wrist. I don't mean any of that stuff. What I mean is where you go away and you get a job and you work really hard for a year and you save up that money so that you don't have to take out a student loan and you can actually live off your own earning. That's really quite honorable if you can achieve that. And if you're strategic about it, you can actually work throughout your university time. You can work part-time during term time, you can work full-time during the summers, and the average person walks out with 42,000 of student loan debt after university. You can shred that down to basically zero if you work hard and are willing to avoid it. And don't worry, it doesn't make you any more unemployable. In fact, I would say it makes you more employable because you've learned real life skills during that period by doing an actual job. The other really powerful thing that you can take advantage of is all of the bursaries and scholarships and grants out there for people exactly in your shoes. Where you should be looking are on the university's websites that you're applying to. They will have specific grants. There are government level grants that you can look at as well. You can look at specific Muslim organizations that offer these grants, such as the Avicenna Foundation, the Aziz Foundation, the Randri Foundation, and others out there. There are so many different pockets of money available if you properly look for it, and you can actually really make sure that you take down your student loan exposure to a minimum if you get some of these. If someone works hard and they haven't got a single grant by the end of that 2-3 month period where they've been looking for them, I would be extremely surprised. Pretty much everyone, if they work hard, should be able to find something. And to give you a start, we've linked some of these organizations in the description below as well. We have been campaigning alongside many others on getting the Alternative Student Finance Initiative over the line with the government. So after about a decade worth of work, alhamdulillah, the government has finally committed to actively rolling this out. We're probably looking at about a delivery time of 2025 at the earliest. So you are going to have to wait, unfortunately, still for that. So one option is you could just take a gap year and wait for that to happen. However, the downside there is a risk that it is the government and there is elections coming up. So it could be that it gets delayed for another year, for example, or it could be that it happens at the right time. So that's a risk that you would have to be willing to take. In either case, we're alhamdulillah really proud of the work that we and others have done and achieved, inshallah, for the betterment of our Muslim community and our Muslim youth for hopefully the next few decades. A really cool way of avoiding a student loan is by starting a business. Now, granted, this is not easy and not all of them will come off, but if you do have that kind of aptitude, you enjoy that kind of thing, then you definitely should give it a go and try and start up a few businesses. I know some people who started off businesses during university. One was selling IT services and he was working with Indian partners and selling outsourced IT services, and he was turning over £200,000 every single year. So he more than covered his university fees. Another guy that I know, he tutored his way through university and as a result walked out with no student debt and in fact a considerable profit as well. So some of these things can come off and you definitely should look into it if this is something that you are interested in. If it's not your kettle of fish, then that's fine. Then you can explore some of the other options we discussed. So folks, you definitely should not avoid going to university because you can't afford a student loan. You can take many steps where you can reduce the amount of the student loan you have to take, but as an absolute necessity and due to the fatwa that we've already discussed, it shouldn't be a blocker for you to go to university because of the way the situation is today. Having said that, all of the things that we discussed are definitely things that you should look into, because having a student loan is not commercially a good idea, full stop, because over the period of your lifetime, you're going to end up paying 150, 200,000 pounds back. So many more times back than you actually took out in the loan in the first place. So the quicker you can clear that, definitely the better. For those of you who have funded your way through university using techniques other than the ones that we've mentioned, let us know in the comments below. And until next time, Assalamu alaikum.